Hello, greetings, cursive writers. We are back for another exciting cursive lesson. Our first cursive lesson in November. Ooh, very exciting. We are going to work today on cursive R and cursive S. So R is on this side, and then S is on the back. So R and S. If you are ready, we will go ahead and get started. Remember, if you write left-handed, you're going to slant your paper slightly this way. If you write with your right hand, you're going to slant your paper slightly this way. That's what gives you that little bit of a slant that goes with your cursive work. I am left-handed. Mine will be slanted this way. Pencils are down. I'd like you to first watch me with a few trace and tries. Are you watching? Is your pencil down? So scholars, I'm starting at the baseline. I slant to the middle line. I dip and curve to kick out. So it's starting at the baseline. Watch me. I'm going to try one. Slant to the middle line. Dip. Bit of a curve. Kick out tail. Watch me do another trace and try. Starting at the baseline. Slant to the middle line. Dip. Slight curve. Kick out. Scholars, keep your pencil down. Watch me do one more. So tracing one more before we join together. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, slight curve, kick out. All right, pencils up. Let's try this together. Are you ready? Tracing, starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, slight curve, kick out tail. All right, let's try one. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, slight curve, kick out tail. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let's take a look. Let's trace and try another one together. Here we go. Tracing, starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, slight curve, kick out tail. Let's try another. Baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, slight curve, kick out tail. Trace, we're going to trace one more pair together. Here we go. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, slight curve, kick out tail. Now, scholars, before we do one more, I see this happen quite frequently with people, right? They start at the baseline, slant, and then they just go like that, which looks very similar, but right, it's not a flat top on it, right? It's not a shelf. It has that dip, so be really careful on that. Let's try that. Ready? Starting at the baseline, slant, dip, and then just the littlest bit of a curve, kick out tail. All right? Ooh, I made my kick out tail very big. That's probably a little too big. Don't do that. All right. You go ahead, trace one more and try 6 of those. And then we'll check in on how you're doing. So how did you do on your trace and try? Did you do at least 6 R's on your own? Maybe take a quick look. Do you have a dip? And then that little bit of a curve with your kick out? Let's go ahead and try read, rod, and graph. Not really a word, but gives us a good combination of what we've practiced. Notice the R's here are probably a little, too much of a dip. So I want to remind you before you start, so pencils down. Remember, when you're writing in cursive, watch me. We're going to write the whole word read without picking up the pencil. So I start at the baseline, slant, to the middle line, dip, that slight curve, and then the kick out becomes the E that we learned last week. Then the up and over and swing around to make the A. Then the up and over, swing back around, up to the top line, down to the bass line for the kick out tail, right, to make read. So, scholars, you go ahead, pause for a moment, and write read at least twice. Then, moving to rod, right? Pencils down again for a moment. Watch me write rod. So, starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, dip, right? Again, that curve, that little bit of a curve, then up and over to make the O. I swing back around. Remember, scholars, an O has a kick out tail in the middle. That's going to become the D. So I don't go back to the baseline. I just kind of do the over and then swing back around to make the D. Right? That part's a little tricky. But remember, I don't come back down and then make the D because then this O is going to look too much like an A. So you can pause and write at least rod at least 2 times. And then our last combination is gra. So pencils down for a moment. Remember to write gra. You're going to start. Oh, pencils are down. I'm starting at the baseline. Up and over. Swing back around. Close the G. Drop below the baseline. Loop. Cross at the baseline. And then I go right into my slant to make the R. Right? Dip. That slight curve. And then I'm going to make the A. Gra. So remember, I want to make at least 2 gra. So you go ahead, pause for a moment, and write at least 2 gra. Like you're starting to write the word grandpa, or grandma, or grapes, or gravy. Oh, good gravy. All right, scholars, now that you've had a chance to work on read, rod, and gra, we're going to turn the page. We're looking at the back side of the R at the S's. So the S page, yes, that's what we're going to look at. We're going to start with lowercase s because it has that same beginning as the lowercase r. So set your pencils down. I want you to watch me do a couple trace and tries before we move into practice together. So I'm going to zoom in a little closer. So watching me, I'm going to trace. I start at the baseline, slant to the middle line, and then I'm going to curve around for a belly. I'm going to touch back to that line, right, my slant, and then swing it forward for the kick up tail. Watch me do one. Remember, your pencils are still down, scholars. I'm starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, belly around, I touch back, and then I swing it forward with the kick out. S's are a little bit tricky because students who don't make them quite right, they end up looking a lot like A's. So you want to be really careful on this slant at the beginning, right? It's not a curve, it's just a slant. Watch me do another one. Baseline, slant to the middle line, curve around for the belly, touch back to that line, and then swing it forward for the kick out. So starting at the baseline, just watch me. You can join me on the next one. Slant to the middle line, come down for the belly, touch back, swing it forward for the kick out tail. All right, pencils up. Join me to trace. So slant to the middle line, curve around, touch back, swing forward for the kick out. All right, we're going to make one. Are you ready? S, you are. Get it? Yes, you are. S, you are. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, curve around, touch back, swing it forward for the kick out. Oh, I feel like that was my best one. Have you made a good one? Let's keep trying. Trace again. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, curve around, touch back, swing forward for the kick out. Here we go. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, swing around, touch back. Curve around, touch back, then swing it back forward for the kick out tail. All right, one more to trace and try. Then let's really make this one our best. So starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, curve around, I touch back to my slant line, and then I swing it forward for the kick out. All right, we're going to trace. Starting at the baseline, slant to the middle line, curve around, touch back, swing forward for the kick out. All right, so scholars, you are going to now trace one and try at least how many? Right, at least 6 on your own. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll continue on together. How'd you do on your lowercase s's, scholars? Right, remember, you want to double check, that you are keeping that first slant nice and flat, and then curving around, and then swinging it forward for the kick out. Let's try a couple of these words. So we have sad, cost, and then just an RS together. And I don't know, these S's did not turn out so well for these samples. So we're going to try to make ours a little bit better than they did. So sad, watch me. Pencils down. I know that makes you sad, but you'll get to write in just a moment. So I want to start, scholars, with that slant to the middle line, and then the belly back, then swing forward. The kick out becomes the up and over of the A, and then up and over to the D. Look at I'm writing the whole word sad, and then I picked up my pencil. Sad. See how our S looks better than that S? This one looks a little bit like it's got a sagging curvy belly. Right? This one's in a little better shape. So, scholars, you can pick up your pencil, write at least 2 sad. You can pause for a moment if you need to. All right. I had space. I wanted to do a little practice. I wrote 3. So now, scholars, for the word cost, when the letter in front of the S, so in this case an O, when that letter in front of an S has a tail in the middle, the S ends up looking a little bit different than normal because you can't really kick it back, right? Make the belly swing back all the way up. So let me show you what I mean. Set your pencils down. So I'm going to write cost. So I'm starting at the baseline, up and over, swing back around. Right, my kick out becomes the O, so up and over, swing back around, I close the O, the kick out tail becomes, right, the top of the S. So now I'm just coming down, right, curving, and then I kick back, but I only kick back as if this line was here. Let me show you what I mean. As if, I'm going to show you with a pen, right? Normally an S would have started here at the baseline and slanted up. Right? See what I did there? So it's as if that invisible slant is still there. So I stop right about in that spot and still swing forward for my kick out to then become the T. So cost. Let me show you that again without the pen mark. So C, O, and then to make the S, I'm going to come down with my belly and swing back to where I think about where that slant would be, and then come forward to make the T. Cost. Right? Go ahead, pause for a moment, write cost 2 times. And then scholars, that puts us at RS. R, you ready? S, you are. But So RS are 2 letters for this week, right? Slant, dip, slight curve, right? To do the kick out becomes the slant of the S. And then the belly kick out, the belly curve back, touch back, kick out, right? The R and the S. Remember, you want to do at least 2 of SAD, cost, and the RS. You could certainly fit in a couple more there. And then we'll move on to the uppercase letters. Ooh, very exciting.